Good morning everyone, welcome to East Shop Education. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Bunnings Warehouse, one of the most trusted and most popular businesses in Australia. So for anyone who's living in Australia, I'm sure you're well aware of the presence of Bunnings Warehouse, their sausage sizzles, their vast range of products. And so we're going to do a little bit of exploring of the business today, some of their business practices, their ownership structure, and just a little bit of general information about why this business is so popular, why people flock to this business almost every single day, but especially on Sundays and Saturdays. It's almost like going to church, but for Australians. So firstly, this is sort of what the warehouse looks like. It's very large, very green. The car parks are always filled with cars. This is the sausage sizzle stand right here. Let's explore the website a little bit. So first off, you could see that these are some of their brands that they have. So Beaumont Tiles, Zellora, TKD, and Bunnings Trade. And go down a little bit, and it sort of shows you the type of things that they sell. So Bunnings mainly focuses on, I guess you could say, homewares and just improving of the general house and paintings and electrical, bathrooms, small appliances, cleaning chemicals, lawn mowers, anything that you might use to maintain the quality of your house, which is very big in Australian culture. So, building supplies, high vis, gloves, bathroom modeling, building, lighting, garden hub. The Bunnings garden hub is very large and extensive. Storage options. Just a huge amount of different brands and products. And so, it also showcases some of their leading brands like Bosch, British Paints, Caroma. These are large brands. Caroma, the bathroom brand, obviously paint, electrical tools, and just many other brands. Dulux, for example, paint, Esky, plenty of brands. Very large selection of things that people can buy, and that's why it's such a very popular business. Let's dive into the annual report for Wesfarmers, and the reason why I've done that is because Wesfarmers is the owner of Bunnings. And so, as I've mentioned in the Coles video, the annual report is a really good way to get a large amount of information on a business in a short amount of time. So this is the 2025 annual report. Just scroll down. I'll just touch on a little bit of what Wesfarmers does. So their businesses, so obviously the Bunnings Group, which has all these brands underneath. Then you have the Kmart Group, which has Kmart, Target, and Anko. Then you have sort of their chemicals, energy, and fertilizers business. You scroll down, you have Officeworks, which is another really popular sort of office supplies business. You have industrial and safety businesses, and Wesfarmers Health, which has a bunch of healthcare and pharmaceutical businesses. So it's a very large conglomerate that owns a large amount of businesses that supply products and services to a huge amount of Australians. And therefore, in Australia, Wesfarmers is incredibly dominant. Let's quickly go down to the Bunnings section. So this you could explore in your own time. So there we go, Bunnings Group. So this is what the uniforms look like of the staff. And so just some of the key points. The revenue was about 19,595 million, which is quite a large amount of money. And earnings before tax was about $2.3 billion. And so I'll just read some of the information here. Bunnings is the leading retailer of home improvement and lifestyle products in Australia and New Zealand, and a major supplier to project builders, commercial tradespeople, and the housing industry. Bunnings Group operates a network of 511 stores across Australia and New Zealand, comprising Bunnings warehouses, smaller format stores, trade centres, and specialist stores, and also frame and truss plants. This physical network is supported by a growing e-commerce and marketplace ecosystem and supply chain network. Bunnings employs more than 53,000 team members. So it's good to know that Bunnings doesn't have 511 of the warehouses. It's a total within their network. I think somewhere down here it actually says what their actual store count is. So at the end of the period there were 285 warehouses, 67 smaller format stores, and 30 trade centres in the Bunnings network, as well as 17 Toolkit Depot stores and 112 Beaumont Tile stores. And so it just goes into a little bit more information about what the business does. Things like circular economy and scope 1 and 2 emissions that are prevalent in a lot of large corporation annual reports. Year in review, some of their strategies and their focuses for the year. And then it just goes down to the Kmart group. Okay, now we're going to go into the BWP Trust. BWP Trust is a real estate investment trust that owns a large amount of Bunnings Warehouse real estate assets. So I took the liberty of going on the website and just having a quick look at some of their holdings. So their properties, they don't own every single Bunnings Warehouse property, but this website sort of outlines what they own. You know, some large amounts of land and buildings. And you can just quickly skip through and have a look at the aerial view of each property. And you can sort of have a look at each one. So if I go on Croydon, well, I guess you can't. Oh no, there we go. Croydon, and it also has a property description as well. And sort of the current valuation is about 52 million Australian dollars. So, you know, each Bunnings warehouse is extremely valuable. Now, let's dive into Hammer Media, which is the driving force of Bunnings Warehouse. So Hammer Media is very similar to Coles 360, which is interesting because Coles was also part of Wesfarmers, I think for about a decade. They were owned by Wesfarmers, and so naturally they have similar sort of media strategies, just with a slightly different coat of paint. And so let me just read a little bit about Hammer Media. I think it's very important to be aware of Hammer Media and how Bunnings uses their media presence to get people to come to their stores. And so Hammer Media is Bunnings' very own retail media network, a wide-reaching network built to help our partners influence and engage our ever-growing audience. Supercharge your brand and product growth by leveraging the power of our brand. We can help you reach millions of Australians, no matter where they are on their omni-channel journey. Hammer Media drives meaningful results and returns to partners while keeping customer needs front and center. It allows brands to connect with our retail and trade customers in a way we've never unlocked before. Create marketing campaigns that not only fulfill brand objectives, but foster deeper connections throughout the buying journey and beyond. So we'll just go down the website a little bit. So why Hammer Media? Unrivaled reach, 14.8 million customers across Australia and New Zealand every month. That was a huge amount of reach. Australia's most trusted brand, which you could definitely say is true because of just the presence that they have in the country and just the sheer amount of people that probably know about the business. It sort of has that Coca-Cola or McDonald's effect, where when you say Bunnings, a certain sort of image pops up in your mind. And so it sort of has that brand loyalty, that brand sort of image that really is deep inside each Australian's mind. And so this is sort of their strategy, sort of the flywheel. It tends to be pretty prominent in many large organizations. They tend to use the circle to sort of show their strategies. And so let's start with some of their products here. They have the Bunnings Trade Magazine, Bunnings Warehouse magazine. So lots of magazines similar to like Coles and Woolworths. Bunnings email direct marketing, social media, video, radio. OOH, I'm not really too sure what this is. So TV ads, search, entry screens, website homepage, in-store radio, category screen, website banners, and video. So the whole media range. Their idea is, I suppose, to try and shove the Bunnings brand down everybody's throats through whatever media device they can. And so, very effective strategy. So it just sort of shows some of the things in here. So in-store screens, these are quite prominent in large retail organizations to make a strong first impression, as it says on the website. And so in-store screens are really important to drive attention to things that Bunnings might want to sell really quickly, or something that Bunnings wants to project sort of the value to the customers. And so another one is the in-store radio. For businesses like Bunnings, the in-store radio is like a deliberate strategy as opposed to just putting a bunch of songs together. I'm sure they definitely have meetings on how best to utilize the in-store radio to make the customer experience the best that it can be. So, tailor messaging to play at specific times of day or days of the week. And so, things like that, the Bunnings website. And so, as of December 2024, Bunnings.com.au was the #1 most visited website of any brick and mortar retailer in Australia. And so, very popular, soulless and collaborative EDM. So, email direct marketing, I assume. So, a curated selection of helpful content. From getting your deck ready for summer to painting a nursery in time for a new pub, our EDM delivers the latest DIY deals, advice, and products directly from Bunnings experts. And so, as it says, it's a curated selection. So they most likely collect data from things like OnePass. See here, OnePass and Flybys, which I forgot to mention in the Wesfarmers annual report. Is their data collection arm that they share with Coles. So Flybys is a loyalty program that offers certain benefits once you scan your card at checkout. And so Wesfarmers owns 50% of that. And so they collect the data from Flybys and to make decisions on how best to serve their customers, I suppose. And so I'll just explore a few of the other options here. The Warehouse magazine, the Trade magazine, the social media, and many other media channels. They also have lots of TV ads and radio ads that have been going on for many, many, many years. Like the Bunnings Warehouse slogan is stuck in my head, and it'll never come out. And so these are the many strategies that Bunnings employs to get customers, get people going into their stores. And that is why the presence of Bunnings is very large in the country. And so in many ways, it is like going to church on Sunday. Instead people go to Bunnings Warehouse and they buy timberware or bathroom supplies to make their house look nicer, to increase the equity value in their houses, and things like that. So thank you very much for watching and listening. This is just a brief sort of summary on my take on Bunnings Warehouse. And if you have any further video ideas, please let me know. Thank you very much.